Or wouldn't it just be nice to have a load of this stuff? I'm pretty sure that's called money, and I don't remember the last time I actually saw any of it without Rachel Thieves trying to get her hands on it, it seems. But a little while ago, I did a video saying that the DWP are going to do a bit of a crackdown, potentially snooping on a lot of people's bank accounts. But there has been a bit of an update. So here's the gist of what's going on. An MP has quite rightly raised an alarm about this whole bank snooping business, even though they reckon it's to sniff out benefit fraud or whatever else. But the MP is warning it could turn into one big mass phishing exercise, and basically ministers are getting new powers to check bank account details, all in the name of cracking down on fraud. But some MPs wanted to beef up the role of the independent person who's meant to be keeping an eye on all of this, making sure, of course, that the system is fair. Costs aren't, spiraling out of control, which seems to be what all things that Labour touch actually do, and the vulnerable people aren't left in the lurch. But MPs voted it down with 268 to 80, with DWP Minister Andrew Weston saying loud and clear that nobody should end up being debanked because of these rules. The new Public Authorities Fraud, Error and Accountability Bill is almost ready to become law, and it's all about tracking billions in benefit fraud, letting the DWP claw back money straight from fraudsters' accounts, and even ask courts to suspend the driving licenses of those who owe over £1,000 and keep dodging repayment. Now, don't get me wrong. I do not think anybody should be committing benefit fraud or anything like that at all. But I do think it is a very slippery slope if the government or whoever else thinks they have the power to willy-nilly snoop on people's bank accounts. And I personally hope that is not the case. It should only be for people who are suspected of doing this, in my opinion, not tarring everyone with basically the same brush. There is apparently a bit of a catch though. An independent person must be appointed to make sure the government and banks stick to the rules. And the Lords tried to give this watchdog more teeth, like checking the costs of the whole system and whether it might unfairly hit people on benefits. But the government just said no, it seems, which I don't know about you, makes me wonder what they'll all be planning next. Perhaps, who knows, could we one day be in a situation we have to register every purchase we make with the government or something like that? Hopefully not, but Lib Dem Steve Darlin wasn't exactly too thrilled about this, saying it feels like this blanket approach to lead to mass phishing. And Labour's Neil Duncan Jordan also chipped in a bit, and he's worried that the algorithms scan the accounts of 10 million people. Even a tiny 1% error could see 100,000 innocent people flagged up, and that is a very good point. Wherever the government seem to implement things, like this whole Horizon computer scandal with Post Office, there are errors, aren't there? Or seem to be. So this is a situation where it could affect a lot of innocent people going about their day-to-day business. And I'm guessing, admittedly I could be wrong, but I'm guessing if they are flagged up and innocent, it could be very difficult for them to get out of it, I'm guessing. But he even warned this Neil Duncan Jordan that we risk creating a second-class citizenship where benefits claimants have fewer civil liberties than the rest of us. On the Tories' side, Rebecca Smith said she was disappointed the government didn't back the Lords' idea, but was glad that the independent reviewer will still hear all the concerns raised. But don't worry, because apparently Andrew Weston, meanwhile, tried to reassure people. Vulnerable people shouldn't be debanked. Human decision makers will always be involved, and the DWP won't get free rein to poke around in every transaction, they reckon. Banks will still share limited data to flag up possible breaches, like having more than £16,000 in savings for universal credit. And oversharing could actually get banks in trouble. But then couldn't that risk a lot of benefit fraud continuing if banks think, oh, actually, I shouldn't share that bit, but I should share that bit? It just doesn't make sense to me. The DWP apparently isn't going to see how much you spend on your Friday night takeaway. They'll just know enough to chase serious fraudsters and not snoop on the entire benefit system, they reckon, as well, which, if that is indeed the case, would be a bit of a reassurance. But I'm guessing, and admittedly I could be wrong, but I'm guessing it isn't going to exactly work out as they reckon, and a lot of innocent people will more than likely, in my opinion, get sucked into all of this. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments.